And we are live. Let's see, let's see. I was gonna say who's gonna be first to join, but I can see we have a few of us in the waiting room, guys. Let me know. Can you hear me? Let's see, let's see. Welcome, Mohammed. Welcome, John. Welcome, Mr. Boss. Welcome, Hrishi. Welcome, Brothers Fan. Welcome, A. Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mr. Boss says hello. Yes, we can. Adam Osmani says, yo, Victoria, hello, hello. Guys, how's it going? Let me know. Are we loud and clear? The connection's okay and everything? Hello, Mr. Heisen Biryani. What a name that is. Or Mrs., as the case may be. Yeah, Jay, I'm doing very well, thank you. Couple of people asking which paper we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing the June 2020 paper 2. Hayatia. Man like Mustafa says, Wagwan. Hello. Thing 2 says, hey, yo. Hello, hello, welcome. We're going to be starting this paper at 5 past today. Hypershadic says, yo, how's it going, my man? Going very well, thank you, going very well. Although I know some of you are going to be disappointed because I have not yet had time to make the playlist. I have not yet had time to make the playlist, but I am going to do it tomorrow. I have a hour train journey tomorrow. I've got to nip into London. So I'm going to be making it on the train. I'm going to be making it on the train. We will do a few songs of the day, though, just to give a little teaser. Paul Vin, I'm very well, thank you. Jay said, how should I work on it if I don't have the paper printed? You've got different options. You could do it on pen and paper. If you have a whiteboard or something like that, you could use a whiteboard. Thank you, Mohammed. Cat Twigs, welcome, welcome. Guys, nice to see a few of us joining. We're going to be starting at 5 past. We're going to be starting at 5. Okay, looks like things are up and running on TikTok as well, which is good. Guys, can you let me know as well in the chat, please? Can you hear the music? I'm going to go silent for a second. I've got my music playing. Can you hear that, or are we all clear? Okay, thank you, Thing2. Thank you, Edits. Thank you, Sami. Thank you, Paul Vin. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. I would love to have it playing loud enough so you can hear it, but you know what it's like with the copyright out here. Hello, Hasnain Assad. Hello, Tan Plays. We're going to be starting in a couple of minutes. For anybody who's new, welcome, welcome. The format is basically that I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do each of the questions, and then I will go through the answers. The longer the question, the more time I'm going to give you. I'm going to really, really say, guys, you're going to get the most out of this if you actually do the paper properly. If you have the paper printed out, that's a bonus. You can find them on Maths Genie, Physics and Maths Tutor. Soon you'll be able to find them on my website as well. You can find them on First Class Maths. Today we're doing the June 2020 paper 2. Astronut said, I'm in year 10. Is this good for revision? Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. If you're doing higher tier, of course, you won't have covered all of the content, or you probably haven't covered all of the content. So some of the questions you're not going to know how to do, but in general, you'll know how to do a lot of it, and it will be some really good practice for you. Man like John Wanyoni's from Africa. Whereabouts in Africa are you from, my friend? Harishi said, can you read out each topic on every question, please? Yeah, where it's commonly asked, I'll let you guys know which topics it is. Thank you very much, Hassanan. Lincoln Yu, welcome, my friend. Good to have you on. Fadsana is back. Yes, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you. Quite a few people asking for when we're going to be doing foundation. We're going to be doing foundation on Friday. I'm also going to be doing foundation on the first session for Monday. Actually, let me I need to make an announcement of that. I'm going to post a video later on Shorts and on TikTok, and I'm just going to outline the plan for the rest of the week. Basically, just for anybody who's here at the moment, I'm not going to go live tomorrow because I can't, unfortunately. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to be live 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I'm probably going to do higher again on Thursday, foundation Friday, higher Saturday, Sunday. Then I'm going to be live on Monday evening. I'm going to do a foundation paper and a higher paper. And then on Tuesday evening, the day before the exam, or the day before paper 2 exam, I'm going to be doing 2 higher papers and 1 foundation paper. I'm going to be knackered, guys. I'm going to be so tired by the end of it. But yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. It's going to be the best way to revise ahead of the next 2 papers. Oh, guys, I just saw the time. Let's get going. Nobody told me in the chat. It's 6 minutes past. Guys, let's get going with this paper. So the format, welcome if you're new here, is basically I'm going to give you a little bit of time to go through each of the questions. The longer the question, the more time I'm going to give you, and then I'll go through the answer. We're probably going to get through the whole paper. It's very likely that we do in the 2 hours. We might skip a couple of questions just where they're kind of less beneficial or where they came up in paper 1, things like that. Question number 1 is a classic. It says, write 84 as a product of its prime factors. Write 84 as a product of its prime factors. Just going to have a quick checkup, see how we're doing on the TikTok. Okay, quite a few of us on here. Beautiful. Welcome, Anita. Welcome, ABZ. Welcome, Shawnee. Welcome, Rox. Welcome, Maya. Oh, everybody did tell me. Everybody did tell me. Okay, it's because guys, if you're watching on the TikTok, I'm actually focusing on the YouTube chat mainly. So feel free to come over to the channel. All of the chat's recorded over there. It's pretty cool. Also, the recording of this live, the same as every live, is uploaded straight to the YouTube channel. You just have to go under the live tab. Okay, let's go through question 1 because I know it's a short one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, write 84 as a product of its prime factors. How do we write a number as a product of its prime factors, guys? This is where we're going to do our factor tree. So I'm going to write 84 up at the top, and then we're going to split this into smaller and smaller factors until all that we are left with is prime numbers. So I'm going to start off by dividing it by 2. That's normally a good way to start, and I'm going to circle that because it's prime. And then 2 times by 42 gives 84. 42 isn't prime, so we're going to split it further. 42 can be split into 6 times by 7. We're going to circle the 7 because it's prime. Next step, we're going to split the 6 up into 3 times by 2. And we're going to circle both of these because they are both prime. So what's our answer going to be to write it as a product? What does product mean? It means that we have to multiply all of the numbers together. So product means multiply. So we're going to do 2 times by 2 times by 3 times by 7. Now, if this said to give it in index form, then we would have to write it as 2 squared times by our 3 times by our 7. If you got that one nicely done, team, otherwise we're going to move on to part B. Now, part B asks us to find the lowest common multiple of 60 and 84. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to use the Venn diagram method. And I'm not going to give too much time for this one because I know a lot of people will just want me to go through these first initial 2. So the Venn diagram method, how do we do it? Well, we have to do a prime factorization of both of our numbers. We can see that we actually already did it for 84. So we've already written 84. So 84 we already wrote as 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. Now we're going to do a prime factorization of 60. So we're going to write 60, and we're going to split this into its prime factors. We're going to do 30 times by 2, circle the 2 because it's prime. 30 can be split into 15 times by 2, circle the 2 because it's prime. And 15 can now be split into 5 times by 3. Now, how do we do the Venn diagram method? What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to draw out a Venn diagram. We're going to put our 60 on the left of the Venn diagram. We're going to put our 60 on the left, and we're going to put our 84 on the right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to write each of our common factors that are in the 60 and the 84 in the middle, the ones which are only in the 60 on the left, and the ones which are only in the 84 on the right. Let me show you what I mean. So we have a 2 in common. We have a 2 and a 2, so I'm going to write that in the middle. We actually have another 2 in common, so I'm going to write that in the middle. I'm just crossing them off to show that I've used them. We also have a 3 in both of them, so we're going to write the 3 in the middle. Next up, we can see that we have a 7 left over in the 84. That's not in the 60, so we write that on the right. And with the 60, we have a 5 left over, so we're going to write that on the left. Now we've written all of our numbers in the Venn diagram. How can we find our lowest common multiple? The way that we're going to do it is to find our lowest common multiple, we're going to multiply all of the numbers in the Venn diagram together. So we're going to do 5 times by 2 times by 2 times by 3 times by 7. So 5 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. That's going to be 10, 20, 60, 420. So that's going to be 420. Use the calculator for that, guys. Absolutely. If we wanted to find the highest common factor, how would we have done it? We would have just multiplied the numbers in the middle. So if we wanted the highest common factor of the two, which isn't in the question, but it's kind of a bit of a bonus just to go through it, we would multiply the ones which are in the middle. So we would do 2 times by 2 times by 3, which is going to be 12. Okay, if you got 420, nicely done for that one. Well done, Mirage. Well done, Cat Twix. Well done to Solar. Superb work, guys. Superb work. Okay, we're going to move on to question 2 now. Now, this is one where if you have the paper printed out, absolutely write it in the Venn diagram. If you don't have the paper printed out and you're doing this on pen and paper, don't skip this question, eh? Don't skip this question. What you want to be doing is you want to be drawing out your own Venn diagram and putting them in your own Venn diagram. It really doesn't take too long. Doesn't take too long. Okay. May says, hello, man like Matt. Hello, May. I like to see that lightning bolt emoji in the chat. QDG said, bro needed to do all that to find that the lowest common multiple is 420. There are more easier ways. So I went through that method because that method is going to work for any example that you ever have, whereas the other methods don't always work. Well, they always work, but sometimes they're like super impractical and super long. So that's why we went through that one. There is the other method where you could write out all of the multiples. That would also work. The reason I went through that, like I said, is because that one's going to work in every situation. Okay, question number 2. Let's go through this one. I'm not going to give too much time because I know a lot of you aren't actually going to be doing this. Paulvin said there is a button on the calculator. That one depends on which calculator you have as well, Paulvin. Okay, so question number 2. This one says complete the Venn diagram for this information. We're given the universal set, and we're told it's the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A is the set of even numbers, and B is the factors of 10. First of all, what does this universal set mean? It means this is all of the numbers involved in this question. A is then is going to be the even numbers, which are in the question, and we're going to start out by writing those out. And I'm actually just going to write it out to the top left to make it a little bit clearer. So A is going to include which numbers? It's going to include even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What about the set B? Well, this is going to be the factors of 10. So this is all the numbers which can be multiplied by something to give us 10. We're simply going to have 1, 2, 5, and 10. 1, 2, 5, and 10. Next step, we're going to go through all of the numbers in the universal set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to decide whether they're in A and B, whether they're in only A, whether they're in only B, or whether they're in neither A or B. So the number 1, we can see this is in B, but it's not in A, so we're going to write it in there. The number 2 we can see is in A and B, so we're going to write that one in the middle. The number 3 is not in either of them, so that's going to go on the outside. The number 4 is in A, but it's not in B, so we're going to write that in the A only. Number 5 is in B only. Number 6 we can see is in A only. Number 7 we can see is not in A or B, so that's going to go on the outside. Next up, the number 8 we can see is in A, but it's not in B, so we're going to write that on the left-hand side. Next up, the number 9 we can see it's not in either of them. And finally, the number 10 we can see it's in both of them, so that is going to go in the middle. This is going to be our completed Venn diagram. Let's have a look at part B. It says a number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set A and B. Drop your answer in the chat for me for this one, team. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. K Blizzy said it's the intersection. I did read that. I did read a bit too much of that question. I wanted to leave more to you guys, but anyway. Okay, Rack says 2 over 10. K Blizzy says 2 over something. Mohammed says 2 over 9. We have another 2 over 5. Solar says, sorry, 2 over 10. Solar says 1 over 5. Let's have a look. So what does this actually mean? This means find the probability that this number is in the set A, and this little kind of N shape, looks like a lowercase n shape, means and. Means and. So this says find the probability that this number is in the set A and B. So that's what that means. It's otherwise known as intersect, but it's kind of easier to just think of it as and. What's that region on the graph? Well, this is going to be the region which is in A and in B. It's going to be this one in the middle. How do we work out the probability? Well, it's going to be the number of numbers which are in that group out of the total number of numbers. So how many numbers do we have in A and B? We have 2. How many numbers do we have in total? We have from numbers 1 to 10, so we have 10. So our answer is going to be 2 over 10. We could also write that as 1 over 5. If you got that one nicely done, a couple of people are asking where we would show this on the graph, A or B, or what that probability would be. A or B is going to include everything in both of the circles. So all of these would be A or B, and the probability of that would be 7 over 10. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3. A couple of people are asking what's the U called. We can pronounce this one as union. So union. So the same as this one was either and or intersect, this one is or, otherwise known as union. Okay, moving on now. Question number 3. Already a 5 marker, guys. Already a 5 marker. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to go through this one, and then I will go through it. Absolutely make sure you give this one a go, guys. Don't just wait for me to do it. I'm going to have a little luck to see how we're doing over on the TT. Okay, still quite a few of us on. Welcome Z, welcome Becky. Well done Cam, well done Jess. Hey, awesome guys. Great work, great work. AMT says, sir, I love your 10-hour video on YouTube. That was a crazy one, eh? That was a crazy one. If anyone hasn't seen, guys, I dropped a 10-hour video which goes through every single topic and actually almost every question type as well. It obviously doesn't cover all of the potential types of exam questions because that's impossible to do because they make them up, right? But it goes through every type of question in the spec. And yeah, it's 10.5 videos. It's the 400 shorter videos on my channel all glued together. Alex Scott says, what? Yeah. Actually, the link is in the description of this video. Aisha Butt says, how long should we spend on a 5 marker? Yeah, great question. In general, if you can shoot for a mark a minute, it's a really good way to go. The paper's 80 marks, right? The exam's an hour and a half, so you have 90 minutes for 80 marks. So you have a teeny bit over a minute a mark. So in this case, five marks, roughly 5 minutes. 6 is okay, but if you can do 5, that's going to be amazing. Okay, question number 3. Personally, I'm not a fan of this question. I'm going to do this one in 2 stages because I know a lot of you are going to be struggling to get into this. So I'm going to go through this a little bit in 2 stages. I'm going to read it out, give a little bit of a hint, and then we'll go through the second part. So the question says, just going to grab my calculator, that Carlo puts tins into small boxes and large boxes. He puts 6 tins into each small box, okay, and 20 tins into each large box. Carlo puts a total of 3,000 tins into the boxes so that, okay, the ratio of the number of tins in small boxes to the number of tins in large boxes is 2 to 3. We can see ratios here. Carlo says that less than 30% of the boxes filled with tins are large boxes. Is Carlo correct? You must show you're working. Okay, we need to find the number of small boxes and the number of large boxes, right? They're the 2 things that we need to find. In order to do that, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work out the number of tins in small boxes and the number of tins in large boxes. How are we going to do that? Well, we have 3,000 tins in total, and we know that the ratio of tins in small boxes to tins in large boxes is 2 to 3. So we have a little bit of ratio division. We're going to find our total number of parts. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 parts in total. Next up, we can work out how big each of our parts is by doing our number of tins, 3,000 divided by 5. So 3,000 tins total divided by 5. Doing that on the calculator, we're going to get 600. And I'm just going to move this to the left so I can write it in super clearly. We're going to get 600 tins per part. Well, how does that help us? Now we can work out the number of tins in small boxes and the number of tins in large boxes. So the number of tins in small boxes, so tins in small boxes, well, we had 2 parts of our ratio. So let's do it here. We're going to do 2 times by 600. It's going to be equal to 1,200. And what about the number of tins in large boxes? So tins in large boxes. Well, that was 3 parts in our ratio. So we can do 3 times by 600. And that's going to be 1,800. Okay. Now that I've got going with it, I'm going to give a little bit more time. If you want me to just go through it, let me know in the chat now. And maybe I'll just go through it. Because I know the people who kind of would have got the first part, maybe are the ones who would have got the second. Let's see, chat. What do you think? Should we go through it? Okay. Most people saying give some time. Most people saying give some time. Okay, I'll give a little bit of time. I'll give a little bit of time. And guys, I'm going to ask you to keep all politics out of the chat. I'm going to ask you to keep all politics out of the chat. Only because there's many different people in the chat. Okay, many different answers going in. Let's finish it off, guys. So, how many small boxes do we have? And how many large boxes do we have? Well, if we have 1,200 tins in small boxes, and there's 6 tins in each small box, we can do the 1,200 small tins. So 1,200 small tins divided by the 6 tins in each box, we're going to get 200 small boxes. What about the total number of large boxes? Well, we have 1,800 tins in large boxes divided by 20 tins in each large box. That is going to be 90 large boxes. And guys, use a calculator for that. Okay, let's loop back to the question. Carlos says that less than 30% of the boxes filled with tins are large boxes. Let's work out the percentage of the boxes that are large boxes. We're going to have 90 boxes out of how many in total? Well, 200 small boxes plus 90 large boxes. So 200 plus 90 is going to be 290 total boxes. So the percentage that are small is going to be 90 out of 290 times by our 100. I'm going to bring that into the calculator. 90 divide 290 times 100. That is going to give us 31.03% to 2 decimal places. And the question says, Carlo says that less than 30% of the boxes are large. Is Carlo correct? No, he's not, unfortunately for Carlo. Why? Because 31% is bigger than that 30%. Bigger than that 30%. Guys, if you got that one nicely done, I'm going to give 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to move on to question number 4. This one we're going to skip just because it's actually, no, I'll just go through this one. So, question number 4. It says complete the table of values for y is equal to 5 minus x cubed. What we need to do is substitute each of our values of x into this equation and then see what value of y goes with it. So we're going to use our calculator for this. For example, when x is equal to minus 2, we have, I'll just write this out super clearly. So when x equals minus 2, we would have y equals 5 minus x cubed. So minus 2 cubed. And we can type it into the calculator just like that, making sure that we put the brackets in, and it would be 13. It would be 13. The reason that we have to put that in brackets, guys, is just because we need to show the calculator that we're cubing the whole of the minus 2. Because there's going to basically be minus 2 times minus 2 gives positive 4, times by minus 2 again gives negative 8, and 5 minus minus 8 gives 13. We would then do the same thing with the other values of x. So for example, subbing in 0, we would have when x equals 0, y equals 5 minus 0 cubed, which again we could type into the calculator, or we could just know that 0 cubed is 0, 5 minus 0 is 5, so we're going to have 5 in there. When we substitute the other ones in, we're going to get 4, and we're going to get minus 3. We're going to get 4 and minus 3. Next step, we can plot each of these, because each of these are actually points on our graph. So negative 2, 13, when x is negative 2, y is 13. That's going to be up here. We have minus 2 along the corridor, then 13 up the stairs, halfway between the 12 and the 14. Then it's negative 1, 6, followed by 0, 5, followed by 1, 4 is going to be there, followed by 2, negative 3. It's going to be all the way down here. Next step, I'm going to try and do this on the iPad, but this is, or on the tablet, but this is going to be pretty difficult to draw. Let's see. Okay, that's not too bad. It would get all of the marks in the exam, so that's good enough. So it's going to be a smooth curve. It's a cubic graph. Okay, guys, if you got that one, really nicely done. Really nicely done. Okay, Mohammed says, sir, can we use the table function to easily plot points? Yep, you can absolutely use that method if you know it. You can absolutely use that method if you know it. Okay, we're going to move on now to question number 5, guys. Man like Sparky said, W artist. Mirage said, how negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 gives you a positive. That one would actually give you a negative. It was because we were taking that away that it made it positive again. So minus 2 times minus 2 would be positive 4. Times minus 2 again would be minus 8. Then we took that away, so it was like minus minus 8, which gave a positive overall. Okay. What do we think for this one, team? I can see that Adam's got an answer. Oh, Adam, did you get the reply to the email? Basically, it was because the subscription didn't renew, so that's why it doesn't give access. Okay, Emily's got an answer. Somi's got an answer. Eng's got an answer. Nicely done, guys. Nicely done. Okay, let's have a look. Question number 5. 2 marks. These often are actually 3 marks, to be honest. It quite often switches between them. Let's have a look then. Question number 5. We can see that we have a right angle triangle. We have an angle. We have one side, and we want the other side. Straight away, I'm thinking SOHCAHTOA. TOA. And in fact, it does say work out the value of x. So this is a classic trigonometry question. We're going to go SOHCAHTOA, which is our first step, writing out our ratios. Next step, we're going to label our side length. So opposite our angle, we have our opposite side. Opposite the right angle, we have the hypotenuse, and our other side is adjacent. Next step, we're going to choose SOHCAH or TOA. In this case, we can see that we have the hypotenuse. We want the opposite, so we're going to choose SO. What does SO tell us? It tells us that sine of our angle is equal to our opposite side divided by our hypotenuse. We're going to substitute our values in. I'm going to switch to a nice green color. Our angle is 34, so we have sine 34 is equal to our opposite of x divided by our hypotenuse of 178. Next step, how do we find our x? We need to get the x on its own. What's stopping the x from being on its own It's currently being divided by 178, so we're going to times both sides by 178. We're going to get 178 times by sine 34 is equal to x. Then we're going to bring this into the calculator. 178 times sine 34, and that is going to give us 99.536, etc. The question, if we look back at it, asks us to give our answer to one decimal place. So we're going to round this to 1 dp. Our decimal point is here, so we're going to look at our next number. It's a 5. That's first decimal place. Then we're going to look at the next number, our second decimal place. Because it's below 5, we're going to round down. So this 5 is going to stay the same. And we're going to have 99.5 as our answer. If you got that one, nicely done. Classic trigonometry question. If you didn't get that one, guys, make sure to revise your SOCAR TOA. Because let me tell you, that one is almost guaranteed. It's pretty much guaranteed to come up in paper 2 or 3. Okay, question number 6 up next. We have a nice column vectors question. Oh, okay. Intelligent Melon said, I don't know why my calculator isn't giving the correct answer. Intelligent Melon, that could be because your calculator is in the wrong setting. So when it comes to our angles, if any of you do A-level maths, you're going to learn about this. Or if you're going to do A-level maths, there's degrees, obviously, but then there's also something called radians. Now, if your calculator is in radians mode, if it says rad in the top corner, then it's going to give you the wrong answer, because this is basically a different way of measuring angles. So what you want to do is you want to find the settings. In my case, if I click settings, it takes me to there. Then you can go calc settings and then angle unit and just make sure it's in degrees. So yeah, that could be why it's giving the wrong answer. You can watch a little YouTube tutorial as well for how to change the settings if you want, if you're still struggling with that. Okay, Lizzie5 Lizzie says, I completely forgot about vectors. Hey, don't worry, we're going to be practicing it. I don't know whether to turn these lights up a bit, guys. Is it better with the lights higher? I just turned them up a click. I think that looks a bit better. I don't know. I'm trying to balance between the different stuff going on. Haha, Intelligent Melon said, yes, thanks, that worked with the angles. Fantastic. Good work. Lincoln, you said better. Okay. Okay, Lizzie said it looks clearer. Oh, brilliant. Guys, maybe I'll turn them up again. Actually, no. Let me go through question 6, then I'll play around with it. Okay, question number 6. It says A is equal to 3, 4, and B is equal to 5 minus 2. Find 2A minus 3B as a column vector. What we're going to have to do here, guys, is we're going to have to combine these, and we're going to have to subtract our B vector from our A vector. However, first, we're going to have to multiply the first one by 2 and multiply the second one by 3. So we can actually write this like this. So 2 times the vector 3, 4 minus 3 times the vector 5 minus 2. Now we can write these, or we can think of these a little bit like expanding brackets. We do the 2 times the 3 gives 6, and the 2 times the 4 gives 8 on the bottom. And then for our other one, the 3 times the 5 gives 15, and the 3 times the minus 2 gives minus 6 on the bottom. Now we're just going to do our top number, take away our top number. 6 take 15 on the calculator is going to be minus 9. And our bottom number, take away our bottom number. We're going to have 8 minus 6, which is going to be 8 plus 6, which is going to be 14. Again, you can do both of those on the calculator. Guys, if you got that one, nicely done. We're going to move on. I'm going to give 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 7. Another 4 marker, another pretty long one here, guys. 4 marks up for grabs in this. So I will give you a few minutes. For some reason, my music is not working. What's going on here? Hey. Let's see. Ah, good. We got it back, guys. We are up and running again. Jason Abraham, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Guys, let me know in the chat. Can you hear my music? You shouldn't be able to hear it. Quite a lot to do in this question. 4 marks up for grabs. Lincoln You says nope. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Mr. Boss. Thank you, Somi. Thank you, Hassan. Oh, good to have you on here, Hassan. Beautiful. Nice, guys. Nice, nice, nice. That's good to hear. I'm going to turn the... Yeah, there you go. The lights are up one more. I think maybe it's a bit too bright now. Actually, no, it's definitely too bright. It's in my eyes. Okay, cool. Question 7. Let's see what we can do. Couple of people dropping answers in the chat. SW said, blood still solving papers since yesterday. I've been going 24/7, 365. No, I'm joking, obviously. We're doing 1 till 3 every day this week, apart from tomorrow. So yeah, maybe you just came back at the same time. It looks like we're going non-stop. Okay, I can see quite a few answers going in the question in the chat for this one. So I'm going to go through it now. Let's have a look. Don't want to give too long. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Let me just move this to the corner so I have a little bit more space. I'm just going to change it to orange as well. Bosh. Okay, let's get cracking. So the diagram shows a right-angled triangle. I'm thinking Pythagoras and SOHCAHTOA straight away, and a quarter circle. Okay, if I work out the area of this, I'm going to do the area divided by 4. Let's keep reading. The right-angled triangle ABC has angle ABC is 90, okay? Quarter circle has center C and radius CB, okay? Work out the area of the quarter circle. Ah, we were right. So how do we work out the area of a circle? We do pi r squared, and that's in the formula book. What about the area of a quarter circle? So area of a quarter circle, well, that is going to be pi r squared divided by 4. In order to do this, though, we're going to need to know our radius. How can we work out our radius? Our radius of our circle is this side here, and we can see that we have a right-angled triangle here. We have 2 sides, and we want the third side, so straight away, I'm thinking of Pythagoras. What does Pythagoras tell us? It tells us that for a right-angled triangle, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, where a and b are our 2 non-hypotenuse sides, and c is our hypotenuse. So what we can do is we can actually set up an equation in a, b, and c. We're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is 6, so we have 6 squared plus b squared is equal to, c is 9, so 9 squared. We can simplify this. 36 plus b squared is equal to 81. We can minus 36 from both sides. B squared is equal to 45 is going to be 81 minus 36. Yep, 45, just avoiding any silly mistakes there. And then square rooting both sides, we're going to get b is equal to the square root of 45, which we could either write as a decimal if we wanted to, but I'm just going to write it as the square root of 45 for now. So we know now that b is equal to the square root of 45. Most of you probably did that on the calculator, so I will simplify it like the calculator would. It would go into 3 root 5. So b is equal to 3 root 5. So I'm just saying that because if anybody typed that in and it went to 3 root 5, you're absolutely right. So we know now that this side length here is 3 root 5. Now working out the area of the quarter circle, well, we can do our pi r squared divided by 4. So we're going to do pi times by the radius squared, so 3 root 5 squared, and then we're going to divide this by 4, and it says to give our answer to 3 significant figures, so let's type it in, see what we get. Fraction pi times bracket 3 root 5 close bracket, squared over 4, bosh, 35.34 to etc. We need to round our number to 3 significant figures. Our first significant figure, remember guys, is the first non-zero digit, so it's a 3 here. Second is the 5, third is the 3. So we look at the next significant figure, it's a 4. Because this is 4 or below, we round down, we keep that 3 the same. We're going to get 35.3. And that is going to be our answer to this one. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat because I know there's a lot going on. I know there's probably a few questions. Talk to me, guys. What do we think? Intelligent Melon said, forgot to route 45 originally. Very easy mistake to make. Heroi AI said, this is kind of confusing. It is a tough one. It is a tough one. Daily Increase said, can you please go through the marks whilst going through the question? It'll only take a second. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that just because it's going to make the descriptions a bit more disjointed. And then the main focus is not on how many marks we're getting at the moment. It's on actually learning as best as we can and improving as much as we can. So I'm going to prioritize the description for this one. If you do want to see the mark breakdown, though, you can see it in the mark scheme. Yeah, that's okay, Mohammed. That's okay. Okay, let's move on then. Question number 8. Man like Tariq. Guys, even if you don't have a calculator, even if you don't have the paper printed out, have a think about how you would do this. And you can write the calculation in the chat even. You can write the calculator in the calculation in the chat. Sparky said, sir, should I still do this live even though I do AQA? Absolutely. This is still going to be really beneficial. With AQA, the paper looks a little bit different fonts, different layout, and that kind of thing. But the content is pretty much the same. It's like 95% the same. Eng says, yeah, did you make the playlist? That's what I was asking. Yeah, I know a lot of people yesterday were asking me to drop the playlist. And I said I would make it for today. Guys, I was so busy yesterday that I haven't had time to do it. However, tomorrow I have to get the train into London, so I have an hour on the train. So I'm going to make the playlist on the train. I'm going to make the playlist on the train. Mindao said, no playlist, no cry. That's a tune as well, by the way. That's a tune by the well. Okay, question number 8. Drop ready in the chat when you're ready for me. 2 marks up for grabs in this one if you've already done it. Let's do part B. Let's do part B. Eclipse says on the train log. Yep. There's nothing else to do on the train, eh? Mindao says no math on Wednesday because he's on the train. Yeah. Quite a few people dropping ready in the chat. Let's have a look then. Question number 8. It says Tariq buys a laptop. He gets a discount of 5% of the normal price. Tariq pays £551 for the laptop. Work out the normal price of the laptop. Okay, how are we going to do this? This is a classic reverse percentages question. Classic reverse percentages question that people really struggle with. But after I go through this, hopefully a lot more of you are going to know how to do it. Reverse percentages. Let's have a look. How do we do this? Well, we know that after the 5% discount, it's £551. What does that mean? Well, if we've lost 5% of the price, what percentage of the original price do we have? We have 95%. So we have 90% of the original. So 90% of the original is 551. Now what we want is we want 100% of the original. How do we go from 95% to 100%? We're going to firstly find 1% by dividing our 95% by 95. Then we're going to scale that up to 100% by timesing by 100. So I can write this little bit in. 1% of original is, we're going to do 551. 551 divided by 95. That is going to give us 5.8. And now we're going to times this by 100. Times by 100. We're going to get £580 as our original. £580 as our original. The topic there, reverse percentages. Guys, let me know in the chat. Was there anybody who didn't get that understands it now? because that's really my favorite type of comment. If you didn't get it, but understand it now. Let's see. Jay said, thank you, get it now. A crew said, I understand it now. Speedrun said, I understand it now. Oh, guys, this is sick, man. This is sick. Okay, well done, Only This Moment. Well done, Cruz. Well done, Ray. Well done, Jay. Yeah, nice, guys. That's so good to see. That's so good to see. That's, like I say, it's my favorite type of comment. Any of the OGs will know that the OG phrase was, that's the sound of progress. Okay. Part B. R4 said, sir, do you use a trackpad? Actually, I'm using like a little graphics tablet like this. And then I like look up at the screen and write while I'm looking up. Oh yeah, thank you very much, NJ. Let me drop that in the chat, actually. Let me drop that in the chat. What is going to be the best? I'll find it there. Yeah, okay. Um, Thanks for reminding me of that, NJ. I'm just going to copy and paste it into the chat now. Hopefully we don't get any spammers like yesterday. There we go. I'll mention that in maybe after question 10. Okay, drop ready in the chat when you're ready for this one for me, team, and we'll go through it. Jay says, why is your review place in Germany? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that happened. I think because like I set the location to Europe. Like I didn't want to put my personal address as the business as the location on there. So I was like, I think I put Europe, and then it looks like I'm in Germany. I'm not in Germany. I'm in England. Okay, quite a few people ready. Let's have a look. Mean Dow, let's keep it cool in the chat. Let's keep it cool in the chat. You're on a warning at the moment, otherwise you'll get muted. Or you'll get sin binned, actually. You'll get timed out. Okay, Joan invests £6,000 in a savings account. The savings account pays compound interest at a rate of 2.4% for the first year, 1.7% for each extra year. Work out the value of Joan's investment at the end of 3 years. What does it mean if we have compound interest, guys? It means that we're going to get the amount of interest, not on the initial amount that we have in the account, but on the amount that we had in the last period. What does that mean in practicality? It means that to calculate this, we're going to do 1,600, sorry, we're going to do 6,000, the initial amount, times by our increase for the first year. So we're going to need the decimal multiplier for a 2.4% increase. How do we do that? Well, to go from a percentage to a decimal, we divide by 100. So we're going to get 0.024. And then to turn this into a percentage multiplier or a decimal multiplier for a 2.4% increase, we're going to add 1. So we're going to get 1.024. So we converted this into a decimal multiplier. Now we're going to do the same thing for this 1.7%. 1.7% as a decimal is going to be divided by 100, 0.017. Now add 1 to it to turn it into a decimal multiplier, 1.017. So for the first year, 1.024. How many years do we get this for? We only get it for 1 year, so we're going to do times 1.024. I'm just going to put that in brackets. Then for the 1.7% increase, well, let's have a think about this. How many times do we get that 1.7% increase? Well, we're saving for 3 years in total. The first year was 2.4%. The remaining years, so this is going to be the remaining 2 years, because it was the first year was 2.4%. The remaining 2 are going to be 1.7%. So we're going to do times by 1.017. And then we could either times it by that twice, so we could write it like this, and that's going to work out our answer. Or alternatively, we could just raise it to the power of 2. So either way is going to be okay there. We're going to turn that into the calculator. We'll type that into the calculator. I mean, 6,000 times 1.024 times 1.017 squared. And that is going to be 6,354.67, etc. And it would round to this to 2 decimal places. So there we had a couple of different interest rates. Ah, my bad. I don't know why I wrote 7. Yep, you're right, guys. For some reason, I wrote 7. I calculated it with 2. Yo, well done, well done. Yeah, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Hassan. Yep, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. I just a typo. You know why I did that? Did I say 7 or did I say 2? It's because I was already thinking of. Well, I think I was probably still thinking of this 7 actually. So yeah, well done. A little bit of a typo. Mohammed, yes, you can. Okay, Lizzie said I said 2 but wrote 7. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, wicked. Thank you, guys. Thank you. 5 seconds to screenshot for this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 9. Oh, this is going to be a good one for the chat. This is going to be a good one for the chat. Guys, let me know. What are the 2 mistakes? Let's spam them in the chat. Everybody, let's put in what we think it might be. 2 mistakes with the box plot. Eng says skip, guys. Don't skip this one. This is free marks if we know how to do it. Okay. Ancient says the lines at the bottom and the top aren't longer than the middle lines. I'm not sure what you actually mean for that one. Intelligent Melon, absolutely right. Well done. Said the median is in the wrong place. So that is going to be our first one, guys. If we look, we can see that we have a box plot down here. How do we draw a box plot? Well, we have 5 key points. We have the lowest value, the highest value, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, and the median. We can see from the table that the median is 162. So median is 162. What's the mistake? Well, he's plotted it at 161. We can see that there's 10 boxes between 160 and 170. He's done it 1 box above the 160. So he's made a mistake. He should have drawn it at 162, but he drew it at 161. Okay, what's the other mistake, team? What do we think? What's the other mistake? Yasser said interquartile range is wrong. Ancient said upper quartile is wrong. Intelligent Melon said upper quartile is in the wrong place. It should be 171, not 172. Let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So we can see from the table that our least height is 142. That's correct. So he's done that one right. Nicely done. The lower quartile is 154. So he's done that right. Nicely done. The interquartile range is 17. What does that mean? The interquartile range is the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So to find the upper quartile, which isn't in the table, we can do the lower quartile, so upper quartile, equals the lower quartile plus the interquartile range. So we can do upper quartile equals 154 plus 17, which on the calculator is 171. Where's he plotted it? We can see that he's plotted it at 172. So this should be 171. Well done to anybody who got that one. Superb work. Let's have a look. For some reason, my YouTube is saying that there's only 40 people on here. Guys, what's it saying on your... it was glitching. Back up to 242. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, NJ. Really appreciate you putting it in. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot this one, team. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 10. 2 1 markers and then a 2 marker. Not going to give you long at all for this one. Let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look. Appreciate it very much, NJ. Appreciate it very much. Holding it down. Okay, question 10A. What do we think for this one? Bobby says 1. Bally Sutton says 1. Ancient says 1. God's Grace says 1. TBJ says 1. Eng says 1. Emily 1. Yeah, good work. And tech gaming, exactly the right reason. Simplify 1 over m squared to the power of 0. Well, anything to the power of 0 is 1. Actually, let me write that in green or orange. So anything to the power of 0 is 1. So 1 over m squared to the power of 0 would just be 1. Okay, what about 8b? Simplify 8x minus 4 over x minus 4 squared. Yeah, I read that like I was going to keep reading it. I can see a lot of answers going in the chat. Somi says 8 over x minus 4. Adam Osmani says the same thing. Sarah, same thing. Ancient, same thing. Yeah, guys, well done. You're exactly right. If you said 8 over x minus 4, you're right. Now, why is this? We can actually think of this as cancelling factors. So I'm going to start off by rewriting this. X minus 4 squared, what does it mean? It means x minus 4 times by x minus 4. Now, because we have them being multiplied by each other on the top, we can cancel them out. So when we divide top and bottom both by x minus 4, we're going to be left with 8 over x minus 4. If you got that one, nicely done. Finally, part C, simplify 3n to the power of 4, w to the power of 2, all to the power of 3. Hassan, I'm thinking of you for this one, mate. Let's see. Daily Increase says, in future, can you do predicted papers instead of past papers, as it would be more accurate and the papers do get harder each year? Two things. The papers don't get harder each year. It might seem like that, but they don't. And the second thing is, even for paper 2, I would say you're still better off sticking with past papers. For paper 3, in fairness, predicted papers are the way to go. First class maths, Hannah Kettle, Maths Genie, those ones do not pay for any. It's a complete rip-off. But for paper 2, it's still past papers are the way to go. Okay. I can see a few answers going in the chat. Nicely done, Ancient. Nicely done, Eng. Nicely done, Belinda. Nicely done, QDG. Yeah, well done, guys. Well done, guys. Ancient says, sir, are you team first class maths or Chris tuition? You should be able to tell from what I put out. I made a little post about it, or I didn't make a post. I reposted first class maths' post to make it clear. Very much team first class maths. Okay, simplify 3n to the power of 4, w to the power of 2, raised to the power of 3. Guys, how are we going to do it? We need to raise each of the things inside of our brackets to the power of 3. So we need to do our 3 to the power of 3, which is going to be 27. Our n to the 4 to the power of 3. Now, what do we do when we have a base to a power, and then we raise it to another power? We times those powers together. So n to the 4 to the power of 3, we times the powers. 4 times 3 is 12. Same with the w now. W to the 2 raised to the power of 3 is w to the 6, because we multiply those powers together. Finally, or not finally, next up, I should say, is question number 11. Absolute banger of a tune just came on. Does anybody know the less I know, the better? Tame Impala? Anybody know it? Absolute tune, I gotta say. Not heard it in a long time, and it just came on autoplay. Oh, Hassan, that's a rookie error, man. No one knows it. Panface knows it. Sohab says it's a banger. Abdullah says Tame Impala, so fine twin. Don't know what that means, but yeah, Tame Impala's quite good. I'm not a big Tame Impala fan, but they do have a few really good tunes. There's someone called Thievery Incorporation, though. Somebody called, I do like Tame Impala, but Thievery Incorporation, different level, man. Different level. Okay, question 11. Let's go through it, guys. Jack is in a restaurant. There are 5 starters, 8 main courses, and some desserts on the menu. Jack is going to choose 1 starter, 1 main, and 1 dessert. He says there are 240 ways that he can choose his starter, his main course, and his dessert. Could Jack be correct? You must show how you get your answer. How are we going to do this? Well, this is a classic exam question, combinations question, right? How many ways are there to combine the 5, the 8, and the some desserts? Well, the way that we find the number of combinations is we multiply those numbers together, right? So we're going to say we have 5 starters, because it says that in the question. So 5 starters, we have 8 mains, and let's say we have X desserts. Let's say we have X desserts. And we know that we can combine these to get 240. So we can do 5 times by 8 times by X, and that would be equal to 240. Could Jack be correct? Well, Jack could be correct if there's a value of X which makes sense here. So we're going to solve this for X and see what we get. 5 times 8 is 40, so we have 40x equals 240. Divide both sides by 40, x equals 6. So could Jack be correct? Yes, he could. When is he correct? So he's correct when there are how many desserts? 6 desserts. Okay, we're going to move on now. Actually, no, 5 seconds to screenshot. I'm just going to quickly ask any questions. Ancient says yes because x is an integer. Yeah, that's actually the perfect way to say it, to be honest. So yes, because x is a whole number. TBG Edit says opinions on Migos and Takeoff. I'm not a big rap fan, to be honest. Not a big rap fan. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot. And let's go. Intelligent Melon said, oh, that actually makes sense. Hey, great to hear. Question number 12. I'm just going to go through this one. Should I just go through this? I'll give 1 minute to do this one, and then I'm going to go through it. Noah says, sir, what do you think of Mr. Asprey's past papers? To be honest, I don't know who Mr. Asprey is. Okay. All right. Let's have a look. Question number 1 says, the graph gives information about the volume V liters of petrol in the tank of Jim's car after it has traveled a distance of d kilometers. We're told that the volume is on the y-axis here, distance on the x-axis. It says find the gradient of the graph. Guys, how do we find gradient from a graph like this? We use the fact that gradient is equal to change in y divided by change in x. Or we could think of this as rise over run. So change in y over change in x, which is the same as saying rise over run. So what are we going to do? We're going to choose 2 points on our graph, and we're going to find the change in y between them, the change in x between them, and we're going to divide the change in y by the change in x. So let's pick this point here, right at the start, because it's a pretty clear point. How many up is it? We can see that it's 2 above the 25, so it's 27 up, and it's 0 across. So this is the point 0, 27. What about the point down here? We can see that it's 0 units up, it's 300 across, so it's the point 300, 0. Now to work out our change in y divided by our change in x, I'm just going to rub this out. The change in y between these 2 points, we go from 27 to 0. So the change in y is minus 27. And the change in x, we go from 0 across to 300 across. So the change in x is 300. We can either leave our answer like this, or we can type it into the calculator if we want. Minus 27 over 300. We get minus 0.09. So we can either think of that one as rise over run, or change in y divided by change in x. Either way there, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. Okay, next up, interpret what the gradient of the graph represents. This is a question which people get wrong really often, I've got to say. People get this wrong really often. Let's have a look. How do we interpret what the gradient of the graph means? Well, what we have to say is basically that it's the rate of change of volume with respect to distance. And to make it even better, we can say The gradient represents the liters of petrol we use for each kilometer we travel. So each kilometer we increase, how much petrol do we use? We use 0.09 liters. So we can say the change in petrol when driving 1 km. So that is what our gradient represents. Ancient says liters per kilometer. Yep, that's a way to think about it as well. Okay, we're going to move on. Question number 13. Let's have a look. Adam says, there was a question similar to part B for velocity and time. I said, rate of change of acceleration instead of acceleration. Would I get the mark? You technically wouldn't get the mark. You technically wouldn't get the mark. It depends, to be honest, on how carefully the examiner is reading. A lot of examiners just skim the questions, and as soon as they see acceleration, they'll give you the mark. They technically shouldn't. But yeah, maybe if you're lucky, they will. Maybe if you're lucky, they will. Story says, for these questions, when I'm doing the change in y, can I find any two places on the y-axis? Yeah, you can find any two coordinates on the line. You could choose any two coordinates on the line. HZ said, I just came back from basketball class. Come on, come on. Man's been dunking all morning. Hey, NJ, good to have you on, mate. Thank you for the help today. Says, I've got to go now. Good luck, year 11s. Have a nice day. Thank you very much, mate. Faith says, where is the promised Spotify playlist link from yesterday? Faith, I hold my hands up. I ran out of time yesterday. I had a super busy day yesterday. I ran out of time to make the playlist, but I'm going to make it tomorrow, and I'm going to share it on Thursday. How about that? Mean Dow. I'm sorry, but you're going straight back in the timeout. Okay. How many questions are in this paper? Guys, after we go through this one, I'm going to ask about the Google reviews. If anybody's already left the review, I really appreciate it. But I'm going to have a quick 2 minutes for anybody who's up for. Sorry, guys, I just got sidetracked. Yeah, I'm going to ask if we could take 2 minutes to leave a quick review. I'll explain a little bit more after this question. Emily says 25 questions. Okay, maybe we'll speed run a few of them. Maybe I'll speed run a few of them. Okay, Intelligent Melon says 15.4. I think it's sine rule. Thank you, Abdullah. I appreciate it. Okay, Q13. Drop ready in the chat when you're ready for me, and we're going to go through it. To anybody who's new, by the way, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you. I'm going to be live 1 till 3, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday evening, Tuesday evening. I'm going to be live all night, but I'll post the details nearer the time. Hopefully you can tell the format. I give a little bit of time for each of the questions, and then I go through it. Okay, Q13. How are we going to do it? A lot of people saying that this one's quite hard. Let's see if we can do it. Here is a triangle ABC. We're asked to work out the length of AB. So how are we going to work out this side length here? First thing that I spot is, okay, I have a triangle. It's not a right angle triangle. I've been given two angles on one side, and I want to work out the last side. So I'm straight away thinking sine rule or cosine rule. And then I'm thinking, okay, if I'm dealing with two pairs of opposites, or I can be dealing with two pairs of opposites, I'm going to be using the sine rule. Let's see if we can use the sine rule to figure this out. So the first thing I see, or the first thing I'm going to write, is that we want to work out this side length here. Let's call it x. So this is the side that we want. We can see that we have a pair of opposites here, c and x. So if we have another pair of opposites in the question, we can use the sine rule. I have this side, but I don't have this angle, so I don't have opposites. However, because we have our two other side lengths, we can work out this angle. We know that the angles in a triangle add up to 180, so we can do 180 minus 34 minus 26, which is going to be 120, I think. Let me just double check that. 180 minus 24 minus 30. Yep, 120. So this angle here is 120 degrees. Now that we have two pairs of opposites, we can use our sine rule. Luckily for you guys, it's in the formula book. What does the sine rule tell us? This time we're looking for a side length. It tells us that A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. So what this means is if we have an opposite side and angle, lowercase letters are our side lengths, uppercase letters are our angles. So, and what I will do is, yeah, I'll just explain it this way. So A over sine A equals B over sine B. We can substitute our values in. Our side lengths are our lowercase letters, and our angles are our uppercase letters, and we have to make sure that we're working with opposites. So we're going to call this one we're going to treat as A, this one as big A. So we're going to have x over sine 34 is equal to 23.8 over sine of the opposite angle, 120. And then what we can do to find the value of x, at the moment the x is being divided by sine 34. So we're going to times both sides by sine 34. And I'll just write it over here. We're going to get that x is equal to 23.8 over sine 120 times by sine of 34. I'm going to type this one into the calculator. I'm going to click the fraction button. 23.8 over sine of 120, close brackets, times sine 34, close bracket, and we're going to get 15.36, etc. The question asks us to give our answer to one decimal place. So rounding to 1 dp, we're going to get 15.4. Okay, classic sine rule question there, guys. We find our two pairs of opposites and we set them up in the equation. Hopefully that one made sense. Lizzie5Lizzie says, got to go, Matt. See you on Thursday. Thanks for the stream. Safe chat. Hey, very nice. Thank you, Lizzie. Good to have you on. Hassan says, lovely stuff. Okay, guys, I'm going to now have a couple of minute break, 2-minute break. Actually, let's say 3-minute break. We're going to start the maths again at 1:15. In the meantime, I'm going to please ask anybody who's finding the stream beneficial to leave a quick review. I kind of said this before, but basically, I really want to keep doing the live streams for free. The only way that I'm going to be able to keep doing them for free is if I can get a bunch of reviews. And it only takes 2 seconds. It's obviously free to do a review. And A, I mean, it'll help you guys out because it'll allow me to keep doing the free streams. But B, it will really help me out. Yesterday, somebody gave it a random 2-star review and put as the comment something about £1 fish or like rubbish £1 fish. And that pulled the average down. So guys, if you could leave a review, I'd really appreciate it because I want to like cancel out that annoying guy. We don't want to let the trolls win. Intelligent Melon said, make like 5 Google accounts to leave 5-star reviews. It didn't come from me. TBJ said, do the reviews give money? They don't give money. I don't get anything from it. But they will be useful in the future. They're going to help me in the future, basically. Hey, Fatima, you're very welcome. So yeah, the link is pinned in the chat. If you're watching on the TikTok, actually, I didn't mention, the link is in my bio on the profile. Link is in the bio on the profile. Adam, thank you very much. Okay. Safia says, done a review. Thank you, Safia. It's going to drop on my, I'm going to be able to see it pop up on my phone when people leave reviews. Guys, it would really help me out, honestly. So the link, hopefully the link works there. Joe said, do you like Drake? Not really, to be honest. O2 Snow says, done. Thank you very much. Gani Mati says, done a review. Thank you so much, eh? Intelligent Melon, that looks like it didn't work. Lincoln, you said, so do you get money from this channel? An extremely small amount. I think in the total 3 years I've had the channel, it's made like 50 quid or something. So basically nothing. Hopefully it will increase a bit in the future. But so far, like for 3 years of like hundreds of hours of streams and like hundreds of videos, like £50 or something, or maybe £100. But thank you, Ben. Thank you, Safia. Bailey Sutton said, "Do you know John?" Which John? Intelligent Melon said, £50 is £50. It's true. But if you do £50 divided by 500 hours, it's 10 pence an hour. HZ, you're very welcome. Okay. Great tune has just come on. Halima, thank you so much. R4 said, "Sir, did you do A-level further maths?" I did do A-level further maths. QDG said, "I've done a review with my alt account as well." Hey, thank you very much. Omar says, "I left a review yesterday. Thank you." Haha, thank you so much, guys. Meda says, "Doing the review. Appreciate that." Maybe I'm going to give just another couple of minutes for people. Thank you, Layla. Abdullah says, "What tune is it?" It's a classic, Sweet Disposition, Temper Trap. Beautiful song. Fatima said, "Does doing past papers actually help?" It's the #1 most effective thing you can do. Yeah, so thank you for the out of context comment. Says, "Guys, my math teacher is like this little old frail adorable grandma that bakes us cakes and stuff." Cakes are cakes, man. Hopefully she's a good baker. Thank you, Has9. Thank you, Intelligent Melon. What does "put the fries in the bag" mean? Ah, thank you, Daily Increase. Appreciate that. Okay, guys. We're going to get cooking again in just a second. Layla said, "First time joining you live and helped me a lot. Thanks." Hey, Layla, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the team. Yasser said, "She won the bake-off. Man like Mary Berry as a maths teacher." That would be cool. Hey, Taylor in the chat. Let's go. Good to have you on. Good to have you on. Okay, team. Should we get going again? Drop ready in the chat when you're ready for me, and we're going to get cracking. We got work to do. I want to get through as much of this paper as we can. Let's see. Okay, Noah's ready, Melon's ready, Meta's ready, Lightdown's ready, Lazar's ready, Speedrun's ready. Beautiful. Guys, let's get cracking. Question number 14. 4 marks up for grabs in this one. This is a tough one. It's a problem-solving question. Let me just check how long the paper is, how many questions. Maybe I'll speedrun a few. 19, 20. Okay, 21, 22. Okay, only 22 questions. I'm going to speedrun a couple. And then we'll have time. Okay, Q14. Q14. Aisha's ready. Abdullah's ready. Cat Twix is ready. 14. Let's see what's popping with this one. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Safi said, if we get you all 5 stars, can you sing us your favorite song? Yep, deal. But that's going to be impossible because that means that the reviews are going to have to go up by 200 by the end of this stream, and that's ain't going to happen. So I think I'm safe. I think I'm safe. My favorite song though probably doesn't have any words in it. That's the only problem. Do any of you guys know Barry Can't Swim? Barry Can't Swim. Does anybody know him if you're not doing this question? HZ said, "Haters can never get to you, Matt." There's too much light in the chat for a couple of haters to get to it. Wiraz says, "Barry who?" I'll put it in the chat actually. Barry Can't Swim. And anyone know Barry Can't Swim? Very, very good house DJ. And if you look at the song Ella Are Ye, like this is up there with the songs of the summer, to be honest. The other song that you all have to listen to is Lil Sim's Woman. What is it? Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat at the end. I forgot the collab. Okay. Question number 14, let's have a look, guys. The question says, here are two squares, A and B. The length of each square of B is 4 centimeters greater than the length of each side of square A. Okay, instantly, as soon as I'm seeing this, I'm thinking, okay, B is 4 centimeters greater than A. We can call A X, and then B is going to be X plus 4. And because they're squares, this can be X plus 4 as well. The next thing it says is that the area of square B, so the area of square B is 70 centimeters greater than the area of square A. Now, what does that mean? That means if we work out the area of square B by doing base times by height, so X plus 4 times by X plus 4, this is going to be 70 greater than the area of A. Well, what's the area of A going to be? It's going to be X squared, because it's going to be X times by X. And this is 70 greater than the X squared, so it's going to be this plus 70. Now, already, we have an equation which we can rearrange and solve for X. We're going to expand the left-hand side. We're going to get, let me write this out properly. X times X is X squared. X times 4 plus 4X. 4 times X is plus 4X. 4 times 4 is plus 16, is equal to X squared plus 70 on the right-hand side. We're going to simplify, rearrange, solve for X. Simplifying the left-hand side, 4X plus 4X is 8X. Next step, we're going to minus X squared from both sides. They're going to cancel each other out. I'm just going to do that in green, actually. We're going to be left with 8X plus 16 equals 70. Next step, we're going to rearrange to find X, minus 16 from both sides. 70 minus 16 is going to be 54. Next step, divide both sides by 8. X is going to be equal to 54 over 8, which as a decimal, I'm not going to do 54 divide 8. It's going to be 6.75. Let's loop back to the original question. The question says, find the area of square B. Well, the area of square B would be X plus 4 times X plus 4. So now we're going to do 6.75 plus 4 times 6.75. Oh, not like that. Like that. So it's going to be 10.75 squared, 10.75 squared. That's going to be 115.5625. It wants it to 3 significant figures. First significant figure is the 1, second is the 1, third is the 5. We look at the fourth because it's a 5, we're going to round up. So the 5 is going to turn to a 6. We're going to get 116 as our answer. Guys, if you got that one, really nicely done. Intelligent Melon said, how did I forget to answer the actual question? Guys, that is going to be a really common mistake for this question because it feels like you should be done by the time you found X, but actually you have to loop back and find the area. You have to sub that value of X back in, and then you get it. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to move on. Hassan said, found it so, or made it so simple. Yes, sir, man. That's the job. That's the job. Okay, guys, I'm just going to quickly close the door because it blew open. And then we're going to get cooking again. And this question, we're just going to go through. It says, describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. How are we going to do this? Well, we know it's a single transformation. We know the size of the shape changes. So we know it's what? We know it's an enlargement. The 4 types of transformations that it could be are enlargement, enlargement, reflection, rotation, and translation. The only one of these which changes the size is going to be the enlargement. How do we work out what the enlargement is? Well, when we're given a shape which has been enlarged and we want to work out what it's been enlarged by, the best method is going to be to join all of the points together, the before and after points. So this is going to, let's start actually with the corner point. So the corner point before and after can be linked with a straight line like this. The 2 points here and here can be linked with a straight line like this. And the final two can be linked with a straight line like that. Now it's a lot easier to see what the enlargement is. So how many marks is the question? 2 marks. We're going to need to give full detail. So we need to know the enlargement. So we need to know the scale factor. We need to know the center of enlargement. They're the 2 things that we need to know. So it's going to be an enlargement. Now, what's the scale factor going to be? Well, how big was it before? It was 2 boxes across and 2 boxes up. How many is it after? It's 3. So we've multiplied by 1.5. So the scale factor is going to be 1.5. However, because the shape has also changed which way round it is, so you can see originally the flat side is there, and now, or the hypotenuse, I should say, of the triangle is there, and now it's there. We can see that it's changed permutation as well, which means it's going to be negative. So negative 1.5. 1.5 because it's 1.5 times bigger, negative because it's been rotated around as well. Now, final point for the last mark, we need the center of enlargement, and that's going to be given by where all of those guidelines intersect, which we can see is there. So the center of enlargement is going to be 1, 1. Lots going on in that one, guys. Lots going on in that one. Hopefully the explanation made sense. Ben, good work. Well done, LYIOSF. Well done, not useful. Well done, God's grace. Superb work, guys. Superb work. Okay. Question 16, a classic quadratic formula, quadratic sequences question. I'm just going to go through this one in the interest of time. Actually, no, I'll give you a couple of moments for it. I'll give you a couple of moments for it. I'll give you a minute for it. Aquafina said it always comes up. Yeah, these quadratic sequences do come up a lot. They do come up a lot. Okay. Question 16. Oh, thank you very much, Jason. That is the biggest donation, actually, that I've ever got on here. I appreciate that very much. Ah, that's blessed. Thank you, man. Let's get a round of applause in the chat for Jason, guys. Or let's get some emojis in the chat. Let's get a little clapping emojis. Let's get some clapping emojis in the chat for Jason. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. That's the biggest. Thank you, Mohammed, for the claps. Fatsana, yeah. Speedruns and Tricks says W Jason. Aisha with the party emojis. Baller Gaming with the claps. Tech Gaming with the claps. Yeah, so says literally saying that to a group of broke teens. Of course, it's the biggest. Hey, it's doesn't change the fact it's the biggest, eh? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Valili. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Minty, for clapping. Somi as well. Hi, guys, for clapping as well. Guys, this is a community, by the way. This is the power of community. We're a team out here. We're a team out here. Aquafina said, Lolly said, don't use it all in one place. I can't promise that one. I can't promise that one. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, HZ. Thank you, Solar. Thank you, Aisha. Intelligent Melon. Gani Mati in there with the big biceps. Come on. Thank you, Muchaba. Wiraz says, real talk, does a donation go to you? Yeah, it does. It does. Mohammed says, YouTube needs to learn from Jason. Yeah, it's also because, guys, low-key, I have the ads turned off on this stream. So that's the other thing. I have the ads turned off on this stream. So I could probably make, I don't know, maybe a 5 or a 10. I don't know how much I would make if I had the ads turned on for this stream. But I have the ads turned off on the stream. Because I know that it's so jarring if you're watching a live and then an ad pops up. And then it's like, yeah, so I have all the ads disabled. Which you probably didn't know, actually. Okay, question 16. Manchester United, see. Okay, guys, let's have a look. Question number 16. How are we going to do it? A couple of different ways to do it. It says, here is a list of 5 terms of a quadratic sequence. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of this sequence. Step number 1, we're going to find the first difference. Step number 2, we're going to find the second difference. So, first difference, from 10 to 21, we add 11. From 21 to 38, we add 17. From 38 to 61, we add 23. From 61 to 90, we add 29. Step number 2, we're going to find the second difference. 11 to 17 is 6. 17 to 23 is 6. 23 to 29 is 6. Now that we have our second difference, to get the number next to the n squared, we're going to halve that second difference. So because the second difference is 6, we're going to halve that to get 3. We're going to get 3n squared. Next step, we're going to rewrite our original sequence, but I'm going to also write down the term numbers. So I'm going to write first term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, and the sequence is 10, 21, 38, 61, 90. The next step is we're going to subtract the first part of our nth term. So we're going to take away 3n squared where n is our term number. So what are we going to be minusing? Well, 1 squared is 1 times 3 is 3. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. 3 squared is 9 times 3 is 27. 4 squared is 16 times 3 is 48. 5 squared is 25 times 3 is 75. Next step, what we're going to do is we're going to find the difference between our original term and this 3n squared. So we're going to take that away. 10 take 3 is going to be 7. 21 take 12 is going to be 9. 38 take 27 is 11. 61 take 48 is 13. 90 take 75 is 15. Now what we need to do is we need to find the nth term of this new sequence. How do we find the nth term of this sequence? Well, we find the first difference. We see that it's 2, 2, 2, 2. So that tells us that it's going to be 2n. And then we say, okay, well, how do I go from my 2 to my first term 7? We plus 5, so 2n plus 5. Now, all that we have to do to find our nth term is we combine the 3n squared and the 2n plus 5, and we're going to get 3n squared plus 2n plus 5. Now, just to make this a little bit nicer looking, I'm going to turn it orange. But that is the full process for this one. Hopefully that one made sense. If it didn't, make sure to revise quadratic sequences. Very likely to come up. Very likely to come up. Okay, 5 seconds to screenshot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question 17. Drop your answer in the chat for me for this one, guys. Let's see what we can do. If you used a different method for that quadratic sequences but got the same answer, that's absolutely cool. That's absolutely cool. Question 17. Write down the coordinates of the turning point of the graph of y equals x plus 12 squared minus 7. Anybody got an answer? Okay, Onyx says minus 12.7. Hi guys, minus 12.7. Sorry, minus 12. Wait. Onyx minus 12.7. Hi guys, minus 12 minus 7. Vali minus 12 minus 7. Okay, different answers in the chat. Guys, what's it going to be? So, for anybody who doesn't know what a turning point is, a turning point is a point on a graph where the graph essentially turns around. And how do we find it from this equation, which is in completed the square form? What we do, to find the x coordinate of the turning point, we look at the number which is with the x, and we reverse the sign. So because it's plus 12 here, the x coordinate of the turning point is going to be minus 12. Then for the y coordinate, we look at the number on the end, but for the y coordinate, we don't reverse the sign. We keep the sign the same. So in this case, the 12 becomes minus 12 for the x coordinate, and the minus 7 stays as a minus 7 for the y coordinate. Hopefully that one makes sense. We reversed the sign for the x. We kept the sign the same for the y. If this was a minus 12, then this would have been plus 12. Okay, moving on now to question number 18. This question looks like it's been sent from a distant land. 4 marks up for grabs. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. HZ says, Matt, are you sure you don't want your edit with Shake It to the Max? You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Personally, I think the song Electricity would be better by Fields and Davido. That's the my GCSE maths theme tune. For anybody who doesn't know, look this up. Funk. What's funk? Guys, this new terminology and language is different. Okay, more people in the chat asking. God's Grace says that's a banger. Yes, sir. You know your music. Yeah, so quite a few people asking about grades and stuff. Oh, funk is like Brazilian house. Maybe I do know. Maybe I do know a bit of funk. I don't know if that's like. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. Actually, I'm gonna check that out. But yeah, quite a few people asking about grades and whether I'm a teacher and stuff. So I don't teach in a school, but I've been tutoring for 8 years. GCSE grades, I got 12 A stars, A level grades, 3 A stars. And then university wise, I went to London School of Economics. And my degree was in econ. So lots of maths in the degree. Loads of maths in the degree, to be honest. But yeah, so that's the whole path. And I'm now 24. I'm now 24. I know a lot of people think I'm like, let's just say younger than that, but not 24. Okay. Q18. What do we think? I'm going to start going through it now. Then I'm going to give a little bit more time. Because this one's a tough one. But I think if I do the first part of the question, a few more of you might be able to get into it. It is a tough one. The question says the diagram represents a solid cone. The cone has a base diameter of 20 centimeters and a slant height of 25 centimeters. A circle is drawn around the surface of the cone at a slant height of 10 centimeters above the base. The curved surface area of the cone above the circle is painted gray. Work out the area of the curved surface area of the cone that is not painted gray. Give your answer as a multiple of pi. You must show all of your working. So essentially, guys, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to work out this shaded area. Now, actually it says that is not painted gray. So we're going to have to work out this area at the bottom, which is not painted gray. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to do the surface area of large cone minus the surface area of the small cone. So we're going to find the difference, which is going to be this area down here. Now, how would we work out the surface area of the large cone? So surface area of the large cone. Well, we have the formula pi times r times L. So pi times the radius, here was going to be half of the diameter, so it's going to be 10, times L, the slant height, here it's 25. So we can do surface area of the large cone is pi times by the radius of 10 times by the slant height of 25. What's that going to be? You can type it into the calculator. It's going to simplify it. It's going to be 250 pi. Now we need to go ahead and work out the curved surface area of the smaller cone. Now, how are we going to do this? The problem that we have is we need to know the radius in order to work that out. How are we going to work out the radius? Well, because this smaller cone is part of the larger cone, we know that they are similar. Does it say that in the question, or do we just have to? Yeah, it doesn't say it, but so that we know they're similar. Now, how can that help us? Well, we can also work out the scale factor between the large cone and the small cone. So what's the scale factor going to be? How are we going to work it out? Well, we need a common length between the two. We have the slant height of the larger cone. We can work out the slant height of the smaller cone. How? Well, it's going to be the total slant height of 25 minus this slant height of 10. So it's going to be 25 minus 10, which is 15. Now that we've got that, we can work out the scale factor. The scale factor is going to be 15 over 25, which if we simplify it on the calculator, is going to be 0.6. It's going to be 0.6. So working out the radius of this one then, what's it going to be? Well, the radius of the larger one is 10. So to work it out, we can do 10 times by the scale factor of 0.6. So where shall I write it? I'll just write it down here. 10 times by 0.6, that is going to give us 6. So we know that the radius of this one is 6. Now we can work out the surface area of the smaller one. So surface area of the smaller one. Oh. We're going to do pi times the radius of 6 times the slant height of 15. That's going to be 90 pi. 90 pi. Now, the actual question wanted the area down here. So we're going to do the difference of these two. We're going to do 250 pi minus 90 pi, which is going to be 160 pi. Guys, that was a very long question, a difficult question. Let me know in the chat, did that one make sense? Or specifically, if you didn't get it, but it makes sense now, guys, can you let me know in the chat? Eng says, got it. Nice one, Eng. Good job, Emily. Good job. Hi, guys. Good job, Tech. Joe says, I get it now. Mamsie said, makes sense now. HZ said, yes, it did, Matt. Great job. God's grace, it made sense. Hey, nice. Bagco says, thanks, Brody. My pleasure. Aisha said, makes sense now. Not that I know what Brody even means, to be honest, but Imogen says, makes sense now. Good to hear. Good to hear. Guys, well done. Very well done. Hassan Mohammed says, is it scale length factor stuff, or am I confusing it? No, you're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely right. Yes, sir said, but it says you need the height. You didn't use the height, only the slanted length. It actually doesn't say that you need the height. It just specifies that that is the height. Kind of to show clearly that this is what we mean by the slant height, just so people don't get confused between L and H. A couple of people asking what topic this is called. This is frustums and similar shapes. Frustums and similar shapes. Okay. Question 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. 44. Okay, we're doing okay on time. I'll give a couple of minutes for this one and then I'll go through it. Actually, chat, let's have a vote. Let's have a vote. I'm going to set up a quick poll. Shall I go through this one or shall I skip this one? Oh, not Q&A. Wrong button. Start your poll. Shall I go through it? Skip. Go through. Okay, team, let's have a look. What are we saying? What are we saying? Just set up the poll now. Shall I go through it or shall I skip it? I'm going to go with the majority. I'm going to go with the majority. It's looking like most people are saying go through it. Dev Smith says, you're... All this like Gen Z or Gen Alpha, whatever you call it, language is crazy, man. I need you guys to teach me what all these words mean. HZ said, Matt, you have to transform into HUD Matt soon. Okay, the majority have definitely said go through it. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'll just go through this one. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Okay, question 19. A hot air balloon is descending. The height of the balloon n minutes after it descends to height hn meters. Sorry, the height of the balloon n minutes. Is HN. I was reading that. I was bugging hard. For some reason, I couldn't see the is. I was like, have they made a typo in the exam? But no, okay. So the height of the balloon n minutes after it starts to descend is HN meters. The height of the balloon n plus 1 minutes after it starts to descend, HN plus 1 meters, is given by HN plus 1 equals K times HN plus 20, where K is a constant. The balloon starts to descend. Yeah, good. The balloon starts to descend from a height of 1,200 meters at 9:15. At 9:16, the height of the balloon is 1,040 meters. Work out the height of the balloon at 9:18. How are we going to do this? Well, this is, for anybody wondering, an iteration question. An iteration question. But this is a tough one because they've not actually told us our iteration equation. They've not told us the value of k here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the information they've given us to work out the value of k. Then we can use that to work out the length at the height at 9:18. So let's convert this formula into something which is a bit easier to understand. So the height at time n plus 1, so let's call this the height at the next period, is equal to k times the previous height plus 20. So the height at the next period is equal to k times by the previous height plus 20. What we want to do is substitute in our 1,040 meters and 1,200 meters to work out the value of k. So we know that the next period 1,000 is 1,040 when the current period is 1,200. Now we have an equation which we can use to find the value of k. So we can minus 20 from both sides. We're going to get 1,020 equals 1,200k. Then we're going to divide both sides by 1,200. We're going to get k is equal to 1,020 over 1,200. So 1020 divide 1,200. And that's going to be 0.85. 0.85. So now we have the value of k. We can write what our formula is. Our formula is that our height in the next period is equal to 0.85 times the previous height plus 20. So 0.85, yeah. So we can say height equals 0.85 times previous height plus 20. I'm not laying this out in the best way, guys. I'm just trying to fit it all on one screen. So let's substitute in our 1,040 to find what our next height is going to be. So the 1,040 is at 9:16. So at 9:17, so let's call it h at 17, we're going to have 0.85 times 1040 plus our 20. So 0.85 times 1040 plus our 20, we're going to get 904. That's at 17. We need 18. So now we're going to sub 904 in. We're going to do height at time 18 is equal to 0.85 times 904 plus 20. Now we're going to sub that into the equation. 0.85 times 904 plus 20 gives 788.4. Bingo. A tough one there, guys. A tough one. So that was basically in two stages. Stage number one was work out the value of k using the 1200 and the 1040. Step number two was plug the value of k into the equation and then use that to find H17 and H18. Difficult one there. Difficult one. Okay. 5 seconds to screenshot if you would like to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to move on to question number 20. We now are on the home stretch for sure, for sure. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this one, and then I'm going to go through it. Question number 20. HD says, these questions are one way to traumatize somebody after a confidence boost. Okay. Let me say this for context. This is really important to say. Actually, HD, I'm glad you said that. Not glad that you're feeling traumatized after the questions, but glad you said that. Why? Because, guys, we are now in the final 3 questions of the paper, including the last one, the final 4, right? So if you think about what the grade boundaries are, if you think about what grade you're aiming for, most of the people watching the stream, 230 of us on YouTube, probably about 100 of us on TikTok, I imagine. Most of the people watching are not going to be aiming for a grade 9 or even a grade 8 for the majority of people, right? Majority of people on the stream are going to be aiming for a grade 5, 6, 7. And majority grade 5 and 6. Me going through these questions can make them look easier than they are. So obviously I go through it. It's my job. I explain it, explain the steps. And it makes it sometimes look a bit easy. These are really difficult questions, guys. So please don't let this knock your confidence if you don't know how to do the questions. But I go through them and they seem to be easy, or they seem to be kind of like that should be doable. It's only because I've been doing this for a very long time and it's my job to do the explaining that maybe they seem a bit easier than they are. I'm going to go through both of these questions together, by the way, guys. So if you've done this first one, make sure you get on to the next. Lincoln News said, so there's a delay. There shouldn't be a delay. I'm going to clap my hands quickly, guys. We're going to do the clap test. So if everybody can prepare to write clap in the chat. So don't send it yet. But just write it in the chat or in the chat box, ready to hit enter when I actually clap my hands. I want to see if there's a delay, okay? So I'm going to do a countdown. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, clap. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, Mirage. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jesselyn, Gigi. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Intelligent Melon. Thank you, Daniel Hussein. Thank you, Donzi, Halima, Catwix, Adam Amina, Ilek, Aslam, Valili, Lincoln, Mamzi, Jani, Noah, Ben, God's Grace, Aisha, Layla, HZ, Emily, Wiraz, Daniel Hussein, Aquafina, Joe, Softly. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can verify there is no delay. There is no delay. Oh yeah, so if you are delayed, then refresh the stream and it will should catch you back up to the start. Because sometimes, depending on your internet and depending on if there's any lag on your end, it can get a little bit behind. Thank you, Freestyler. Lincoln, you said I still have a delay. I do. I got rid of it. Awesome. Aslam said, sir, please, what app do you write on? This is Notability. Okay, guys, let's have a look at question 20. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Question 20. There are only red sweets and yellow sweets in a bag. There are n red sweets in the bag. There are 8 yellow sweets in the bag. Sajid is going to take at random a sweet from the bag and eat it. He says the probability that it's red is 7 over 10. Show why the probability can't be 7 over 10. What we're going to do is we're going to find an expression for the probability of choosing a red sweet. Now, there are n red sweets and 8 yellow sweets. So if we choose one at random, what's the probability of choosing a red? Well, it's going to be the number of red sweets, which is n, out of the total number of sweets, which is n plus 8. Now, Sajid seems to think that the probability is 7 over 10. So he thinks that this is equal to 7 over 10. What we're going to do is we're going to find the value of n, which makes this equal to 7 over 10, and it's probably going to come out as a decimal, and that's going to show that there's no value of n possible, which actually makes this a probability. So how can we do that? Step number 1, we're going to cross multiply. We're going to times both sides by 10 and both sides by n plus 8. On the left, we're going to have 10n. On the right, we're going to have 7, oh, not plus, equals. On the right, we're going to have 7 times n plus 8. Next step, we're going to expand those brackets on the right. 10n equals 7n plus 56. Next step, we're going to minus 7n from both sides. I'm going to write it up there. So 3n equals 56. N is equal to 56 over 3, which if we type it into the calculator, 56 divided 3, it's going to give us 18.66. And because this is a decimal, there's no value of n, which gives us the one that we need. Good job, Intelligent Melon. Good job, God's Grace. Yeah, nicely done, guys. Okay, this next part is a tough one. This next part is a tough one. But stay with me, guys, and this is important. There's 200 of us. To anybody who didn't understand this or didn't get it, that it makes sense for after I go through it, please let me know in the chat afterwards. Please let me know in the chat afterwards. Also, if you have no idea what's going on for this, please don't panic. It's one of the last questions in the paper. Let's get it done. So after Sajid has taken the first sweet from the bag and eaten it, so he doesn't replace it, he's going to take another sweet from the bag. Given that the probability that both the sweets are red is 3 over 5, work out the number of red sweets in the bag. You must show all of your working. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the probability of getting a red and then a red, and we're going to set that equal to 3 over 5 and solve for n. So what's the probability that the first one is a red? Well, there's n red sweets, and there's n plus 8 sweets in total. Now, the first one red and the second one red, we're going to times this by our other probability of getting the second sweet red. Now, when we choose the second sweet, how many red sweets are left? N minus 1, because we took one of them out. And how many sweets are left in total? It's going to be n plus 7. So there was n plus 8. Now there's n plus 7. So this is probability the first one is red, probability the second one is red. And this is going to be equal to 3 over 5. Now we have an equation which we can rearrange and solve for n. Then the number of red sweets is our value for n. So how do we do it? Step number 1, let's simplify these algebraic fractions. When we have algebraic fractions, we can do top times by top and bottom times by bottom. So on the top, we're going to have n. So now I was supposed to say when we multiply two fractions, we do top times top and bottom times bottom. So n times n minus 1 on the top, n plus 8 times n plus 7 on the bottom. This is equal to 3 over 5. Next step, we can cross multiply. So we're going to times both sides by n plus 8 and n plus 7, and both sides by 5. On the left-hand side, we're going to have 5 times n minus 1. On the right-hand side, n plus 8 times n plus 7. And I forgot to write the 3 in there. So 3 times n plus 8 times n plus 7. Now we have a quadratic, which we can rearrange and solve for n. So on the left, I'm going to do 5 times n is 5n squared. And then 5 times n times 1 is going to be minus 5n, or 5 times n times minus 1. On the right-hand side, we're going to have 3 times by. Expanding these brackets, we're going to have n squared plus 7n plus 8n plus 56. Next step, we're going to simplify. 5n squared minus 5n equals 3 lots of n squared plus 15n plus 56. Next step, what are we going to do? I'm going to expand these brackets on the right-hand side. We're going to have 5n squared minus 5n is equal to 3n squared plus 45n plus 168. Definitely use a calculator for that, guys. Next step, we're going to move everything over to one side, or all of the, we're going to move everything over to one side. And the reason we're going to do this, guys, is because we have a quadratic. So now we have a quadratic in n squared. So we're going to rearrange to the form an squared plus bn plus c equals to 0. So I'm going to minus 3n squared from both sides. We're going to have 2n squared on the left. We're going to have minus 5n minus 45n is going to be minus 50n in total. And then we're going to minus 168 from both sides, and that's going to be equal to 0. Next step, what can we do? We can divide everything through by 2 to simplify this a bit. So we're going to have n squared minus 25n minus 84 is equal to 0. And now we can solve this by either factorizing or using the quadratic formula. Now this is going to be pretty annoying to factorize, but it is going to be possible. Also going to be... We need to find two numbers which multiply to give negative 84 and add to give negative 25, not times, add. And I need to think about this. Got it. Okay, so minus 28 and plus 3. Let me check that. 60, 24. Yeah, perfect. So minus 28 and plus 3. Why did that work? Because minus 28 times by 3 is minus 84, and minus 28 plus 3 is minus 25. Then what can we do? Well, to find values of n, we need to change the signs. So this is going to be n equals 28, and this is going to be n equals minus 3. And what does n represent, guys? N represents our number of red sweets. So n can't be negative. So 28 is going to be our final answer. I feel like I need to turn these lights up a bit. Is that better? Let me know, guys. Did that just get better or did it get worse? Now it's feeling pretty bright for me, but I think... Is that better? I think it just got really dark outside. Maybe I'll turn it down one. Was it better with the lights on or off? Noah said too bright. Yeah. Thought so, Aslan. Is this better now, guys? Is it like clearer now? Or is it still too bright? More importantly, though, guys, how did we find that question? Okay, it's good. Thank you, God's grace. Thank you, Aslam. Nice. Guys, how was that question? Did it make sense for anybody? Let me know. Amina says it was a hard one. Yeah, it was a tough one. Guys, that was a really tough one, honestly. Mirage said hard. Emily hard. Yeah, very difficult one. Guys, if you want to watch it back, the recording will be posted straight to YouTube. If you want to just ignore that one, then that's also okay. I would say only if you're aiming for a grade 9. Okay, I'm going to go through these ones very quickly, and then we're going to finish with... I'm going quite over time. That's okay, though. With question... should we do one more question? Guys, let me know. Do you want me to go through the last question? Or should we call it a day? Because I know a lot of you are tired. And I'm a bit tight on time, low-key. But if you really want me to go through the last one, I can go through it. Okay, we got mixed opinions. got many mixed opinions. Okay, I'm gonna go through this one, and then I'm gonna go through the next one. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Let's finish strong. Let's do the whole paper. It's gonna be a good way to finish. If you do want to clock off, fair enough. Fantastic work today. Let's go through question 21 and then question 22. Okay, question 21. The graph of the curve with equation y equals f of x is shown on the grid below. On the grid above, sketch the graph of the curve with equation y equals f of minus x. So what have we done here, guys? What have we done? We've swapped x for minus x. In other words, all of the values which were minus x are now going to become positive x. So this point is now going to be here. This point is now going to be here. And this point is now going to be here. So it's going to be a reflection. It's a little bit difficult to draw on here, but it's going to be a reflection in, let me write that on. A reflection in the y-axis. Okay. Next up, part B. It says the curve C with equation y equals 5 plus 2x minus x squared is transformed by a translation to give the curve such that the point 1, 6 on C is mapped to 4, 6 on S. Find the equation for S. What are we going to do for this one, guys? Well, what we need to recognize here is that, first off, the translation is 3 right. So the y coordinate has stayed the same as 6. The x coordinate has changed from 1 to 4. So we've gone 3 to the right. What does that mean? Well, when we transform a curve and we go to the right, what do we do? What do we do? We subtract 3 from all of the x's. So we're going to take this, y equals 5 plus 2x minus x squared, and we're going to swap each of our x's for x minus 3. This, I will say, is a very niche piece of knowledge. This is a very niche piece of knowledge. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, I've not seen that, I have no idea how to do that, please don't stress. Even if you're aiming for a grade 7, even a grade 8, to be honest, it's a very specific piece of knowledge. The minus 3 goes inside the brackets because we're doing it to the x, and we flip the sign also because we're doing it to the x. If you got that one, very nicely done. Question 22, 5 marks, and this is going to be our final question of the day. Guys, let's lock in. Let's get this one done, and then we can call it a day, and you can go and chill. Q22. Thank you to everybody who just left the review, by the way. Oh, that's so nice. Not just now, but at the start. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody at the end as well. I'm gonna do another little ask, because I know a lot of you would have not done it because it was halfway through. Quite a few people are asking for the hair products. Should I disclose? I mean, if it's something you're actually interested in, I can tell you. Most of the time, I don't use anything. Okay. Should we get cooking for this last one, guys? Okay. Question 22. What I'm going to do, guys, a lot of people are saying 1 more minute. I'm going to go through the first part of the question, because it's not going to give anything away, to be honest, or will give a bit away, but it's just going to help people who are struggling to get into it, to get started, and then I'll go through the rest of the question. Let's have a look. So it says a curve C, sorry, not curve C, just C is a circle with center at the origin, okay? Straight away, I'm thinking, last question, I see tangent. I'm going to have to draw a nice little picture of this. There we go. And we have a circle with center at the origin. Okay, let's draw that on. That is a very nice circle. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. Okay. And then it says a tangent to C passes through the points -20, 0, and 0, 10. So a tangent to C, what does tangent mean? It means it's a straight line and it's going to touch it at exactly one point. We know that it passes through at -20, 0, -20, 0, and 0, 10. So I'm going to actually draw the tangent first. Bosh. And this is going to be the point 0, 10. Okay. What does it ask for? It asks for the equation of C. C is our circle. So this is a question which is asking for the equation of the circle. What is the equation of a circle with center at the origin? It's x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the length of the radius. So what we actually need to do is work out the radius. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on a radius, which looks like it has some information we could use. I know that if I can work out the length of this line, then I've got my radius, so I've got my circle. How could I work out the length of this line? Well, I could work out the length of this line if I could work out the length of this point here. How could I work out the length of this point here? Well, this point is going to be where the tangent here meets this radius here, or this line here, actually, if I extend the line. So how could I find where they meet? Well, I could solve the two equations of the lines as simultaneous equations. So the next thing that I'm thinking is, okay, I need to find the equation of this line and the equation of this line. Let's go for the blue line. Well, the general form of the equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where c is the y-intercept and m is the gradient. What's the gradient of this line? We can do gradient using rise over run. We go from -20, 0 to 0, 10. The gradient is going to be, let's do it here properly, m equals change in y over change in x. The change in y is 10, the change in x is 20, so the gradient is a half. So we can say y is equal to a half x plus c. What's the value of c? Well, we've been given the y-intercept here. We've been told that the y-intercept is 10. So this is the equation of this line. Now, how can we find the point of intersection? If I had the equation of this green line, I'd be able to work it out by solving them as simultaneous equations. Well, how can I do that? Well, I know that the tangent meets a radius at a right angle. In other words, the green line here and the blue line here are going to be perpendicular. What that means is that the gradient, I was bugging with my words then, the gradient of this line here is going to be -2. It's going to be the negative reciprocal of this. So let's call this L2. Let's call this L1. So this is the equation of L1. The equation of L2. So let's go for gradient of L2 equals negative reciprocal of this. So it's going to be -2. So the equation of L2 is going to be y is equal to -2x. And the y-intercept of this one is 0. So plus 0. Now we can find where these two lines meet. How do we do that? We solve them as simultaneous equations. So we have y is equal to minus 2x, and y is equal to a half x plus 10. We are going to set these equal to each other because they're both equal to y, and then we're going to solve it for x. So we're going to have, let me just lay this out nicely. We're going to have -2x is equal to half x plus 10. I'm going to minus 10 from both sides and add 2x to both sides. So half x plus 2x is going to be 2.5x, minusing 10 from both sides. Now what we can do is we can divide both sides by 2.5. We're going to get that x is equal to, pretty sure it's -4, just so I don't make any silly mistakes. Let me just do that. Beautiful. So now we have our x coordinate. Finding our y coordinate, we're going to sub this back in. So we know that y is equal to -2x. X is -4. So y is equal to -2 times -4. It's equal to 8. Now we have this coordinate here. The x coordinate is -4. The y coordinate is 8. Bosh. Now, how can we go about working out the length of the radius? Well, now we have actually a right angle triangle. If we think about this, we have a right angle triangle because this is the point 0, 0. This is the point -4, 8. The width of it is going to be 4. The height of it is going to be 8. So we can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared, because the radius is the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. So 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. C squared is equal to square root of 80. Yes, let's just do it like that. C squared is equal to 80. C is equal to the square root of 80. So now we have the radius. We know that the radius is 80. Bosh. So we can sub it into here. The equation of our, let's put it in the middle here then. Actually, no, I don't want to go purple. I will go for, what color should we go for? Let's go for orange. What's the equation of our, oh, that didn't work. Yeah. What's the equation of our final circle going to be, guys? It's going to be x squared plus y squared is equal to, our radius is root 80. So r squared is going to be 80. Guys, very, very well done. Very, very well done. If you got that, amazing work. A said, why do you say Bosch at the end of every sentence? Do I do that? I didn't even realize I did that. If I do, it's subconscious. Do I always say Bosch? Guys, I know that was a long one, eh? Mirage said, that's no joke question. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mohammed says, yes. Do I say it? Guys, let me know in the chat. Everybody let me know. Do I keep saying, do I say Bosch? A said, let's have a party. I do these. Oh, that's so funny. I had no idea that I do that. That is so funny. Hopefully it's not annoying. Maybe that's my way of like clocking the steps in my mind. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Guys, what I will say is bosh, bosh, bosh. That is another massive session complete. Guys, congratulations. You know what we do at the end of these sessions? What do? We throw a little party. What does it mean, guys? Spam the chat with as many good vibe emojis as you possibly can. I want dancer emojis, disco emojis, party emojis, disco balls, fire, ice, especially lightning bolts. That's the favorite. Why? Because doing revision is important, and you guys are out here putting in the work. Putting in the work. The revision is important, but what's also important is taking a moment after you've revised, after you've put in a good shift, to appreciate the work that you're putting in. That's why we throw this party. This party is a little bit of like a self-appreciation, a little bit of a kind of, guys, we smashed it, team, we smashed it, marking the end of the session. We've got Soul partying, Alec partying, Tech Gaming partying, Shadow Celeste dancing, come on, Atufi partying, Joe with the medals out, Alec Commas hiding away, A's partying, Belinda's partying. Let's see what's popping on the TikTok. I've not checked in on you guys for a while, to be honest. Oh, I see I'm in the way a bit. RW, thank you. Marcy, you're very welcome. Jake says scroll down. Yes, man. There you go. If you need that bit. Ah, a couple people asking if I can zoom out so you can see the whole page as well. Yeah, there you go, guys. There you go. Okay. A's partying. Awesome. Guys, that is where we're going to call it a day for now. Hassan says, let me bring this into the calculator. Bosh. Oh, maybe I have been saying that all along. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of a chilled out final 5 or 10 minutes. You guys can ask me any questions that you want. I think there's a little Q&A thing here. Ask you ask any questions. I think I can start a Q&A. I don't know if that's a thing. Questions list. I'll end that poll. Oh, maybe I don't have enough space actually. Okay, guys, there is a Q&A thing. Oh, that's cool, eh? Oh yeah, the last thing I am going to say, guys, is if you didn't leave a review, or if you haven't left a review yet, if you could, I would really, really appreciate it. So the link is pinned. Yesterday, somebody voted, or somebody voted. I'm getting a bit tired now, guys. Somebody, um, rated 2 stars and called it and said like something about £1 fish, and it really pulled the average down. It meant that it's not 5-star average anymore. So if you guys could leave a review, I'd really appreciate it. I know a lot of you already have, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. On selflessly, guys, it's really going to help me out. Or selfishly, if you want, if that's not enough reason, it's the only way I'm going to be able to keep doing these free lives, and I really want to keep doing them for free. I'm going to zoom back in now just because it looks a bit ugly on the screen. There we go. Perfect. Ooh, Aslam said Burner Boy or WizKid or Davido. Oof. I'm going to go Burner Boy. I'm going to go Burner Boy. He's, in terms of his consistency, the pure number of good tunes that he's put out is going to have to be Burner Boy. Also, his live performances are, yeah, it's going to have to be Burner. It's going to have to be Burner. Davido's good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read the questions. Yeah, Davido's also very good. WizKid's also very good. Okay, I can see lots of questions coming in. I can see lots of questions coming in. Let's have a look. So, um, Emmanuel says hi. Joe said, what did you do for A levels? So for A levels, I did maths, further maths, and econ. I did maths, further maths, and econ. So not a very fun answer. And then at uni, I did economics. But it felt more like a maths degree, to be honest. Um, Jesslyn Gigi said, will this also help AQA students too? Definitely, Jesslyn. Definitely. I'd say it's like 90% efficiency. So there's a few tiny differences in the specs, but they're really small differences. And of course, there's a little bit of a different in terms of how the papers are laid out with different fonts, etc. But really, they're very similar, and it's still going to be very beneficial. N. Kaizen said, how hard was econ as an A level? So econ is pretty tricky, A level. It doesn't include much maths, so that's a bit of a myth. If you do economics at like a top university, then it has a lot of maths in it, a lot of maths. But A level econ really doesn't have too much maths. I'm biased because it's my favorite subject. It's really, really good subject, so I would recommend it. My degree's in economics, so like you can kind of see that I carried on with the econ, but I'd definitely recommend it. Atufi said, is there going to be a live stream tomorrow? I'm new. Hey, Atufi, welcome to the gang. Welcome to the community. No live stream tomorrow, but we're going to be back on Thursday. So I'm going to be back Thursday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. No live stream tomorrow because I've got some stuff I need to do. But I'll be back Thursday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. I'm doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then Monday evening, Tuesday evening, I'm going to be live all night ahead of paper 2. Noah said, did you take economics at GCSE? I actually didn't. Noah said, what's your favorite song? Guys, I am about to share with you. Does anybody know Little Sims? If you let me know in the chat. Does anybody know Little Sims? I don't know if that's like, so it's a female rapper. What kind of rapper? Kind of a bit of hip hop. Anyone know Lil Sims? I'm about to share with you guys an absolutely unbelievable song. Let me just find the link. Um, so it is a remix. So I don't know which DJ did it, but this is Lil Sims X the Bee Gees. This is, if more people knew about this, this would be the song of the summer. I'm just putting the link in there now. Hopefully it works. Yeah, guys, this song is unbelievable. Oh, I can't post it in the chat. I can put it in the chat, no? I can put the link in the chat. Yeah, I think I can do that. It's just linked to a different YouTube video. Okay, I'm going to have another quick look at the questions. Omar says, what hair product are you using, please? It's actually one I'm using today. It's called Wavy. It's called Wavy. It's like Wavy. If you type in like curly hair, products for curly hair, because my hair's naturally curly, so it goes a bit frizzy, then it normally comes up first because they're paying so much for ads. Zero said, can you do a flip? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I reckon I could learn pretty quickly. I'm not bad at a little handstand. Can hold handstand maybe about 5 or 10 seconds. Somi said, have you ever thought about reporting the negative reviews? You know what, Somi? It actually does it automatically. It actually does it automatically. So thank you for saying that. But I've been getting emails like the day after. So like I got one today saying the review blah 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 has been removed. So I think if somebody posts a really bad review and everyone else gives good reviews and they don't actually explain anything about the review, if it's clearly spam, if it's like 1 star with no reason, Google kind of spots that it might be a troll, or because sometimes competitors try and like give each other bad reviews. So yeah, I think they actually get removed automatically. But then when I looked back on the account, they're still there. So I'm not sure. Jay said, do you play a sport? At the moment, I'm not playing any sports at the moment. I used to play a lot of football till I was about 18. Then I kind of jacked it in and just started doing the gym. And then 2023, I got into boxing. So I did a lot of boxing and a lot of yoga, believe it or not. I know they don't normally go together, but I did boxing and yoga kind of for 9 months, which is unbelievable. So if anyone's thinking about doing any martial arts or yoga, 100% it's worth it. Um, but I got a bit too much into the boxing, and then I had to tone it down a bit because I have my exams coming up. Um, at uni, that was. Layla said, what's your favorite movie? The first one that comes to mind is probably Inception. The first one that comes to mind is probably Inception. You know, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio? There's another film called Blood Diamond, though, which I like a lot. It's also Leonardo DiCaprio. RS3 or M14i. I'm going to go for or M140i. I'm going to go for RS3. For anybody who doesn't know, that's a type of car. Zoha1B said, do you ever plan on doing A-level math revision? I might do it, to be honest. I might do it. I've not done any yet on social media. I do like one-to-one A-level tutoring, but I've not done any on social media. I'm thinking about doing it, though. I'm thinking about doing it. A said, explain how Dickens uses Marley's ghost as a catalyst for Scrooge's change. Be detailed in your answer. All I can say, my friend, is you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about that anymore. The literature days are done. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look back at the chat. NJ said, Matt, what's your opinion on JDM cars? I actually don't know JDM cars. HZ said, NJ Slays is a mod. Keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Yeah, you absolutely do, mate. Thank you. Joe says, see you Thursday. I got to go. Hey, see you Thursday, mate. Thank you, Yorkshire Dad. Joe said, Point and Kill is a banger. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Oh, yeah. What was the reaction to that song that I put in? I don't know if anybody looked it up. Okay. Okay, lots of people clocking off now. Guys, I'm also going to say hasta la vista. Noah said the song was nice, to be honest. Yeah, it's unbelievable song. Unbelievable song. Mirage says, see you. Thank you for the live. Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. Guys, I'm going to say adios. Thank you for a great session today. We're going to be back Thursday, 1 p.m. doing a higher pass paper again. Then Friday, I'll probably do foundation. I'm going to confirm it and make a post. Goodbye, Layla. Goodbye, Jay. Goodbye, Aisha. Goodbye, Intelligent Melon. Goodbye, Noah. Goodbye, Meta. See you Thursday. You got me, HZ. You got me. No, you didn't actually. You didn't actually. Okay. Adios. Hasta luego. Ciao, 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 guys. Thank you for today. I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now.